What about you? Have you ever been in the middle of a conversation and suddenly someone turns to you and asks, "But what about you? What do you think?" In a moment, everything stops. The world is no longer talking about them. It's about you. That's the question Christ stunned his disciples with. But who do you say that I am? And he asks us the same today. Until that moment, they had been repeating what others said. Some say you are Elijah, others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. But Christ doesn't care what the crowd says. He wants to hear the truth that burns within you. Who do you say that I am? Saint Gregory Palamas calls this moment the crossroads of the heart, the place where word meets faith. You can't hide behind theories anymore. There's no room for generalities. Truth must have a face in you. In the sayings of the Desert Fathers, a brother once asked Abba Pimen, "What should I do, Father? I feel lost without answers." The elder replied, "Sit in your cell and ask yourself, who are you and what do you seek? If you know who you are, you will know how to answer the Lord." What would you say if Christ stood before you today and asked gently but directly, "What do you see in me?" Not what you've read, not what you've heard. You, just you. When the Apostle Peter said, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God," he spoke the simplest and most shattering truth. And the Lord told him, "Blessed are you, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven." The truth about God doesn't come from books. It comes from revelation. Not from empty words, but from encounter. And for many people, that moment of encounter comes when all other voices go silent. Let me tell you a real story. A friend of mine, who had always been a proud atheist, was in a terrible car accident. He walked out unharmed. When I asked what he felt in that moment, he said, "For the first time, I couldn't lie to myself. I knew someone was holding me. And I heard a voice inside say, 'You know nothing about God, but He knows everything about you.' Now, what about you?" That question saved his soul. In Isaiah chapter 6, the prophet sees the Lord in glory and cries out, "Woe is me, for I am undone." Why? Because when you see God, you finally see yourself, and you can't run anymore. Saint Silouan the Athonite wrote, "The soul that has not known Christ may live in illusion, but once it has seen Him, it cannot live for anything else." The question remains, have you seen Him? Or are you just living in someone else's shadow? Think about how many sermons you've heard, how many books you've read, how many videos you've watched. And now, one simple question. If today were your last, what would you say to the question, who is Christ to you? Not what you know, what you live. In Psalms, David says, "Lord, you have searched me and known me." God never asks questions out of ignorance. He asks not to find out, but to wake you up. Abba Anthony the Great once said, "Know yourself and you will come to know God." The question, what about you, is not about morality. It's about becoming real. No more masks, no more hiding. In Revelation chapter 3, Christ says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." He doesn't break it down. He doesn't force himself in. He just asks, "Do you really want to know me, or just talk about me?" What if today you just paused for 5 minutes of silence and said only this: "Lord, I want to know you truly, not through strangers, not from second-hand words, but through my priest, my confessor, who is your voice on earth." That's the beginning of a real life. And from there, everything begins. So, what about you?